All right. Hey there, everybody. If you're just watching us on Facebook, just coming in and wondering what we're doing, tonight I wanted to do, let me just shut a couple things off here. There. Tonight what I wanted to do was show you how you could take your same simple tools. Now you're wondering, what are the simple tools? This is a simple tool set that goes with my simple SVGs. And the toolkit comes with, it's tough to see because they're clear shapes, and they're all designed to fit in the spaces that show up on simples. And they help you crop your photos. So we'll work on the simple and I'll show you how we use them, how they were designed to be used. But then, you know how I give you simple sketches? Well, they could be a simple SVG that you could cut this with your Cricut, or you could just use your trimmer because they're pretty basic shapes, and sometimes it's just faster to use your trimmer, but they coordinate with this size shape. Okay? All right, so let me show you what that means. So let's move all this out of the way. So here's the sketch, right? It's going to start with the basic 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card right here. And then the 4 by 5 1/4 goes right here. And I'm just going to grab my snail and put that down so that we don't. Those of you on Facebook, I can't really see your questions or concerns. You can come join us here in the classroom if you want. If not, just put your questions there or anything that you want me to see, and I'll check it after. I can come back and look at it. So this paper that I'm using tonight is one of the new Celebration items that are coming January 3rd to Stampin' Up! If you are new to Stampin' Up! Or joined with me and don't remember Celebration, they have this for 3 months, January, February, March. When you purchase $50, you get to choose from a free item. Purchase 100, you get 2 free items. So it's really cool. And it has its whole own little catalog. You'll see this is the paper that I'm using. It's called, now I've lost it already, Bubble Pop and Fizz, or let me look. Let me look at its name. What are you called? You are called Bubbles and Fizz. To think about the soda. And so there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in here. Great, lots of really fun. These are all free with orders. Okay, we'll talk about those another day. But I wanted to use this paper tonight just so that we could get a chance to get a peek at it. And maybe you're just thinking, I don't want to look at another Christmas red and green card. I want to look at something other than Christmas. So this is not going to be Christmas. This is going to be something totally different. So there we go. The card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The 4 by 5 1/4 is down. Now we have this 3 1/2. I'm going to use my 3 1/2, 3 1/2 toolkit. So a couple of things that I could do. I could create some amazing paper using my watercolors. I could create a stamp. I could grab one of my Thinlits that would be close to that size. I could use this to cut my paper with. If I didn't want to measure, I could just use my template and cut my paper with this if you really hate measuring. How does that work? Let me just grab a piece. This doesn't really go, but we're going to use this because it's left over. And I'm going to put this on here, line it up in the corner. This is how the templates were designed to be used, the tools. You simply cut with a long blade pair of scissors right along, holding it tight to the acrylic. No measuring needed, and this would fit right here the way the sketch was designed to put it, okay? All right, well, I pre-cut mine already. So there's that one. And then the one in this corner is the 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Okay? All right, well, let's put these down. And by using the designer series paper, you really don't have to do very much more, but you could. You could stamp on this piece instead. And then I grabbed, for the center, I used my stitched Thinlit, which is over here, and my Big Shot. And then I'm going to stamp on this, and I'm going to use the Label Me Pretty, just because I love this one. It's so easy. You're thinking, well, this is round, and this isn't really. So maybe I don't want to use a white background. Elena, this is the new paper that's coming in January. It's going to be part of the celebration. Yeah, sneak peek. See, it's right here. It's so cool. It's called Bubble and Fizz. And it will be able, you can get that free with a $50 order starting in January. So just keep thinking beyond the green and red. So maybe you're thinking, well, gee, I don't know if I want this. Maybe I just want this. So you could take, let's just size it up and see. Even though I gave you in the sketch, I said it was a 3-inch circle. What if you just want to use your punch? So instead of the 3-inch circle, you pop the punch down. Okay, that's one. Another idea might be to take a piece of, I just have to find the paper over here. This is a piece of that same designer series paper. I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to run this through. So the reason I wanted to show you this is the toolkits don't have to be limited to just your scrapbooking or just memory keeping. Like, you could use these for your cards as well. So now we're going to put this down, and then we're going to put this in the middle. So it gives it a little something. No, this isn't a new stamp set. This is one we've had. It's called Label Me Pretty. I love this one. I didn't bring them all out new. So we've got, I'm going to do the happy birthday on it. And I'm going to use some of my Lemon Lime Twist. Remember, even though they're new color paper, they go with all your cardstocks that you already have. So you don't have to reinvest. Just because they're going to come out with some new pattern paper, it's going to go with what you already have. I'm also noticing that I need to get some ink refills. The ones that I go to all the time, it's time to refill my ink pads. Hey, Janet. So I'm going to put this here. Now, it's kind of tough to do it. Normally, I stamp first and then punch, so I may mess this up. I won't once I get my Stamparatus. I won't have to worry. Remember, if you wanted to get your pre-orders in, you have till the end of the month. They don't charge you until it ships, and they'll tell you before they do it. So it's not going to be a, oh my gosh, when did that come out of my account? It's not going to be like that. You're going to get a notice. They're going to tell you. And for example, if you wanted to use a different credit card, you could change it. If you wanted, if you have to have time to get things into that account, it's not going to cause you drama. I know. I'm excited to see it. All right, so this was punch after stamping, and I find that a lot easier to get it exactly where I want it. And then we're going to grab some dimensionals and pop those on. So a super easy card, kind of just graphic shapes, nothing fancy schmancy, but it's an easy way to do a quick birthday card. And what I'm hoping it for you is the sketches give you a jumping off point, either using a simple sketch or using literally a simple same concept works for both. You can spend your time being creative, not spend time trying to figure out what you're going to do. I asked for some volunteers this week, and we did a little mini survey. Thank you all for helping. It was great. And I will announce what's going to happen, what I took into account of what you told me, and what we're going to be doing going forward. I can tell you that I'm going to be spending some more time on, I'm going to hold on to this because I might need it. I'm going to be spending more time with scrapbooking and Stampin' Up! Because I'm finding that I'm making I love making cards, and I'm not going to stop making cards. I'm going to keep doing them, but I'm getting behind in my scrapbooking. And I have grandbabies that just keep doing really cool things that my kids, that's a whole nother story. I'm never going to get caught up with them. But maybe if I start right, I can do it right now. So, probably not, but I'm going to try. So there will be more scrapbook classes and still card classes too, but I want to do more with the scrapbooking at the start of the new year. You know how January comes around and you make all these resolutions? Well, mine is to scrapbook more. So we'll be simple scrapbooking though. We'll be doing it with my simple SVGs. Okay, so here's our sketch and here's our card. Super easy, a great color, something not red and green, but really cool. All right, so that's one way to use your tools other than just on your layouts, okay? All right, so now let's bring in the simple. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a minute, and I'm going to share Design Space. If you're not really sure what I talk about when I say the simples, simples are an SVG. If you are a Design Space user or a Cameo user, Brothers Scan and Cut, most of your electronic die cut machines allow you to cut, I just want to stop something here for a second so it doesn't get too confusing. Allow you to cut SVGs with your machine using your software. Remember, we have a full intense course with Sure Cuts a Lot, which lets you create SVGs. So that's a different topic, and those start in January. We have a whole new world in January. But anywho, if you have an SVG from me, and I've been sharing some free ones this week, that's part of something that's coming in January. Free ones, we like free. You will upload it to Design Space. So you save it to your computer, and then you upload it to Design Space. And then it will show up right here. I've uploaded, this is today's SVG. So click on it, say Insert, Design Space pops it right in here. It's going to cut at the size it was designed, so you don't have to resize anything. It's 2 layers. What this allows you to have is a double mat behind your photo. So your photo fits in here, and then you have this mat and then this mat. If you think, well, I don't need 2, you could just have 1, or you could turn off this and have a thicker mat. I'll show you. I cut both of these so you can see them both. This is very similar to the card that we just created. So let's go back to look at the camera again. Okay, so you're going to start out with a 12 by 12 on the bottom. That's where I tend to use my pattern paper. Although depending on the pattern, if it's kind of an all-over one, even this one, you could use that too. This color doesn't go with my photos. That's something else that I heard from a lot of you, that you need help with that, and that's really frustrating. So we'll talk a lot in the new year about how to choose the right paper and what's good about it. And I will be focusing on Stampin' Up! Papers only because it gives me a jumping off point and something that you can go get. If I just grab a paper that's on sale at Michael's or Joann's and then you can't duplicate it, it's really frustrating. At least for me it is. If I see somebody use something and I want to do it, I want to know where to get it. So I will make sure that you can find the paper that I'm using if you decided that you wanted to do the same thing. This diagonal's a little much for me, so I'm going to bring this one in instead, which is the bubbles. All right, so I've cut the simple, and we have two. In the one that you saw in Design Space, this was the green layer, and this is the white layer. Notice I did use a pattern paper for that because it's not a screaming pattern paper. It's an all-over pattern that doesn't distract. One of the things that I try to look for is something that's not going to take away from my photos. I want the photos to be the stars of this page. This is a little busy for my taste. I tend to be a clean, graphic, simple, hence the name of my company and the name of everything I do, because this is almost too much color for me, too much movement. This one's even worse. But it really goes. And the yellow one here pops out, and by having the gray as a matte, I'm okay. All right, so I'm going to put these down, and then I'm going to start to work on them. So I'm just going to take my snail. And what the simple does is it gives you placeholders for your photos. Everything's right here. I don't have to think about, well, how many pictures am I going to use? And where is it going to go? And how do I set this up so that it looks right? Where's my title going to go? All right, so this goes down, and then layer number 2 goes on top. You do not need to use this layer if you'd rather not. Originally, when I created these, they only had one layer. But I found that I kind of like the double matte on some things. All right, so there we go. Now, the layout's really done. I just have to figure out what's going to go on it. So I'm going to pull out some photos, and I'm going to try and figure out which way they're going to go. So I have 2 horizontal and 3 vertical. All right, so I could, if I really like the vertical, I could turn the layout like that, and I could use my vertical photos in here, and that would be okay. And then I'm going to crop these down to fit here. I happen to think that the sunset photo really is more the star of the show. So what I'm going to do, and that's just my choice, and that's because I thought it looked really cool when it happened, and what I want to remember about this trip was that. So I'm going to go like this and turn it around. I'm not going to crop these. They're just going to pop on here. Now this is where I talk about the pattern paper hurting the picture. It doesn't, even though this yellow has a little bit of design to it, it's still muted enough that it actually helps the picture, not hurts it. So we're going to put some snail on the back and center those. No measuring. It'd be nice if you got them straight though. You don't have to measure anything, you just have to pop them on down. All right, and now I've got one over here for the other horizontal one. And then I have 1, 2, 3 spaces, and I have 1, 2, 3 photos. All right, well, I kind of like the turtle. So he's going to go, but he's going to go right there. This water in the rocks is going to go right there, but you're thinking, well, that's a little big. Well, that's where the toolkit comes in. Now I have that size, or I can go even smaller. I'm going to go with this and I'm going to pick up the rock, but I don't want this whatever's really close in the picture. I just want the rocks. I try to cut as few sides as possible. Sometimes you need to do all 4. Sometimes you need to do 3. But if you can find a corner that saves you a little bit, again, it really is really easy if you have a good pair of scissors. Good long-handled scissors lets you cut. Goodness, I'm making all kinds of noise here. Let's get rid of our garbage. Now, what this one is, and not all simples are like this. This one I did so that when I put this down, I actually cover up the yellow. Well, what if I wanted to save some paper? I didn't want to do that. I might use that yellow for something else. I could always cut this off before I do it and not put that down. I can always punch under the photo too. All right. Okay. So now, remember my turtle's going to go in there. This is going to go here. I want some of the beach and some of the water, because if I just do the sand, that's kind of cool, but I kind of want a little bit of the water too, to show that it's at low tide, but I want to see mostly tide. All right. Again, this works to just hold it in place. Trim. So those of you who either have never scrapbooked before or feel like, yeah, maybe I could actually do that, who thought scrapbooking was just for old people, or it went out of fashion a little bit ago, it didn't. It's still really cool. Okay. Your assignment is to get your pictures to Shutterfly or Walmart or Persnickety Prints or your home computer, wherever you are. Get some photos printed, because that's what you're going to need come the 1st of next year. I am going to grab my 2 1/4 inch punch. The simples do come with a round. So if you don't have a punch, here's my round one. They do come with a round template. We all hate it. No, we don't all hate it. It's hard to cut in a circle. It really is. The punch makes life so much easier. So I recommend getting the 2 1/4 is the biggest one you can get. So I can figure out exactly what I'm going to see when I punch. And he's going to go right here. And I'm going to use some dimensionals with him. And now I have really finished the layout, but now I have to do my title. And again, this is going to depend on your comfort zone. If you're comfortable designing a title with your Cricut, then go for it. If not, that's the beauty of the stamps. You can always use your stamp. All right, so what stamp would I like to use? Well, I'm going to look around. Whoops, I missed you. Hold on. The same stamp set that we just used can actually work for this. Let me show you which one I'm going to use. I like the You're the Best. So that goes in a circle, right? So I'm going to take the You're the Best out. I'm going to grab another circle punch. You can see where circle punches are good to collect. I have a 1 inch one. I don't know if that's big enough. I think it's 1.5, in which case I will use my stitch thinlits. So let me just see how big the one is. And it's probably a good idea to punch these out. Oh, that might work. Let's try it. So that you have kind of a, when you get your punches, punch a couple of them out and just leave them on the shelf near it. So you can figure out, is this going to work for me or do I need something else? So this is the You're the Best. And I'm going to punch that. I think I'm going to use black. I'm going to grab my basic black. All right. And my circle. Squeeze that all in there. Just. And then it's a little tight. I'm not sure I'm loving it. I want the other one. I think it cut off too much of it. I'm going to use this one. And move you over. Okay, so now I'm going to do this instead because I didn't like that one. Again, Stamparatus will make this so much easier. All right. And then this is going to go like this. And this is going to go here, and you're thinking, well, that just kind of blends right in. I don't see that at all. I'm going to take some of that yellow paper, which I have left over from when I cut out my simple, and I'm going to punch. I'm going to get 2 out of this if I can. Let's see. One. 2. Oops. And then I'm going to line him up like that. And then you're going to go down here. And you're going to have some dimensionals. Layout done. Now, if you want to do more, you can always do more. But honest to goodness, you really don't have to. So in 27 minutes, yes, I cut them out first, so that was sort of cheating. But literally, it doesn't take long to let your Cricut cut these out. We did a layout, and we did a card. Just over here. Using the same basic idea of the square in the corner here and the littler square down here, circle in the middle. Same basic idea, same papers, totally different. All right? Anybody have any questions? So if you look on, I know a lot of you already have your toolkits, but remember there are some toolkits still available. I made that crooked. If you wanted to get this before Christmas, there will be tons more after Christmas. So don't think, oh gosh, I need to do it. You don't need to do it now. You don't need to do anything now. I'm hoping that in the next few days, I have more pictures coming in so we can do some. I have 2 classes scheduled next week, and then that is it for the holidays, you guys. Then we take a break. Spring break. No, not really. This is Christmas break. It's time to hang out with family and eat cookies and watch Hallmark movies. All right, guys, I will see you all soon. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. And if you have any questions about anything I did, please just drop me a note. I'm happy to help.